everyone, I'm Roxy with Roxie's Broadway Breakdown. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to talk about auditions. I am currently choreographing Sondheim's Follies, a concert version. And so for the last couple of weeks, I've been auditioning people. If you're not familiar with Sondheim's Follies, it's about Weissman girls, which are kind of like Ziegfeld Follies girls. And the theater that they used to perform at is closing. And so they're all coming back for a reunion to say goodbye to the theater and sort of the lives they remember as performers. So all the adult roles have been cast, the lead roles have been cast, and we're looking for the youngs. And I just want to talk about some of the highlights and lowlights. Not that there's been many lowlights. I mean, for the most part, everyone has been delightful and it's been a really fun process. But I just want to share some thoughts about if you have auditions coming up and some maybe things to keep in mind. So, the director put out an audition announcement and was very specific on some things, and I added a couple of things I wanted to see because it does, even though it's a concert version, we are adding a tap number. I mean, the show is huge. It has huge ensemble pieces. But the concert version even kept like a tap number, it kept a jazz number, kept a couple of other numbers with like some light musical theater dance. So we're trying to stick to the concert version as much as possible. So she was specific on, we're really casting for like 5 young roles. And she was specific on which kind of music to bring and which songs she wanted to hear. And for the most part, I would say everyone followed that to the letter, which I was pleasantly surprised to see. There were a couple of people that were asked for specific songs and they did not prepare them, which I was like, If you were asked to sing a specific song and you did not prepare that, I'm thinking, I don't know if that bodes well, because if you're asked to, you know, look at something for the night before during rehearsal process, or you're asked to prepare something, or we're giving you homework, and you don't prepare that for rehearsals the next day, you know, this is a tight rehearsal schedule we're in. It's going to be pretty much every day and long hours, and so I don't know if that bodes well for you following directions, but anyway, everyone was very nice. Everyone has been very polite, and that goes a long way when you thank your pianist, when you thank the director, the choreographer, everyone that's there, you know, checking you in. So I think that has been very nice to see, and that goes a long way. That's just so important, being very polite and courteous to everybody. The girls have dressed out to sing. They've been dressed appropriately. They have been dressed in dresses, and their hair's been nice, and their makeup, and that goes a long way too, because there is an appropriate way to dress for like a singing audition. You want to look really nice. And then they have dressed out. We've given them time to change, and they've dressed out for the dance auditions. And I was very specific for the tap number. This is going to be a show tap number. I wanted them to bring tap heels. They all did. Nobody asked to tap in flat tap shoes. So I was really pleasantly surprised that all the girls brought tap heels. That was awesome. We had asked the boys to do a jazz combination, be prepared to do a jazz combination, but at the last minute, I wanted to see the girls do it. And I was pleasantly surprised that they all had character shoes, jazz shoes. They were ready to do it. And I have always said, be prepared in an audition to do anything that day. You might be asked to do other combinations, maybe a ballet combination or a jazz combination. So bring all your shoes, you know what you're gonna be asked to do that day. And they were all prepared. So I was very glad to see that in both rounds of auditions, all the girls were prepared. So I was like, that's great. As far as the tap combination, I had picked different music than the show because the only show track I had taps on it, and I can't like give a different combination than something with tracks on it. So I had to pick another song, but it was an intermediate level combination. And I threw it out very quickly. I first gave it just calling out steps like, flap, heel, heel, Broadway, da 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 da. And they picked it up, some picked it up pretty quickly. I then gave it to counts, and then I did it with words. And they wanted to see me do it just by myself so that they could hear the rhythm of it. Then they got it easier, they got it quicker. And I could tell the ones that take tap consistently and the ones that were really tappers. I watched them so that I could see who could really sell it, who had that sort of stage presence ability. And then there were enough of them there, I had time to really listen to them individually do it one by one and really hear like the tap sounds clearly. So, because I wanted to see who's really keeping the rhythm of this, who has each individual tap sounds. So I've been talking to people that I grew up with that still do this consistently. They teach, they choreograph, and we're saying it's such a shame that tap is a lost art form. It's becoming a dying art form because it's so important. If you're in musical theater, take tap. I can't stress that enough. Take tap. And really, to be in musical theater, it's like an all-round performer. Take singing. Ballet is a foundational dance. Jazz. It's just, you don't know what genre they're going to ask you to do. Hip hop, funk, ballroom. I mean, it's just not just tap, but like you need to be an all-round dancer, not just an all-round actor, but you think of the range of characters in musical theater. You could be doing anything from Lori in Oklahoma to Mean Girls, Renee in Mean Girls. I mean, well, that's a pretty different vocal type, but that's my point. Like you could be doing anything. If you're in high school, you could maybe be doing Tevye to Gomez and Adams. I mean, you just don't know. So in the real world, that would be a totally different age range of, Tevye and Gomez. But I'm just saying, like, just be prepared. Musical theater is just a vast world of performing skills. So it's important to train in so many things. So that has been our audition process. We also asked them to send in headshots and resumes. And for the most part, everybody sent in very professional headshots and resumes. A couple of sent in some odd headshots. It looked like they just clicked some selfies and sent that in. But no, take the time to get a professional 8x10 with a professional photographer. Have your name printed at the bottom. And resumes just should be very simple. Your information at the top, contact information, and just, theater on one side, the role you did on the next. First, the last show you did at the top, and then going backwards at the bottom. I've done some videos on headshots and resumes. I'll link those below. But, and then just one other thing I'll kind of add. When you audition, and your personality is your personality. I mean, that's just who you are. You can't change that. And like I say, everybody's been very pleasant. But sometimes when I'm getting down to the nitty gritty and I'm kind of, they're equally as talented for the most part. But I just kind of get that gut feeling of like, who would I rather work with? Like just first impressions and, maybe through callbacks or whatever. But maybe I'm just gravitating towards one person because just maybe I'm just feel myself clicking towards that one person, or I mean, you can't help that. I can't help that. It's just I'm thinking, and maybe nerves that day have you amped up and you're just kind of really intense with your personality or whatever. But I'm thinking, oh, that person, for whatever reason, maybe I don't know if I can go like a whole rehearsal period and show with that person. But maybe try not to let nerves get the best of you. Calm down, but that's, like I said, you maybe just can't help that. But I'm going to always gravitate towards a more calmer person. And just somebody who's a little bit more serene and, still a fun person, somebody who's up and, but just not somebody who's, but that, like I say, that talent at the end of the day will still win out, obviously, but it just, sometimes that personality thing might, that's just not me. That a director or any musical director, anybody will tell you that. It's like, yeah, I don't know if I can work with that person. But anyway, there has been my experience with these last round of auditions for this show. I'm looking forward to doing it. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. All right, until next time, bye.